Welcome back. Fresh off a plane from Germany, Boxing Hall of Famer Emmanuel Steward. He was in the corner of Vladimir Klitschko last night as he won against Jean-Marc Mormec. And you slept yet?
No.
Thank you very much for being with us. It's always great having you here. We'll talk about last night's fight, but why don't you introduce us to the two Kronk boxers who you brought here and get us caught up with what's happening next Saturday in Novi.
Well, first of all, I hear Tony Harrison right here is our top prospect that we are developing, considered by many to be the next Tommy Hearns, same initials. And Tony's had 5 fights and he's won all 5 fights by knockouts. So he's creating a lot of excitement in boxing, and he will be fighting the next two main event fight at our big boxing show coming up. And we have the main event star here, Andy Lee.
Who we know well.
Andy is from Limerick, Ireland. He relocated here 6 years ago. He had his first professional fight here on the exact same day. And since then, he's became one of the top contenders in the world and scheduled to fight for the championship later on this year. And Andy will be fighting the main event on the show.
Well, let me hop in right with Andy right away. We've been on your case since you got here 6 years ago, and it's been a whirlwind. I know you're 27-1. You've avenged your only loss, but we haven't seen you fight very frequently here in Michigan. So we're looking forward to next Saturday night. Get us caught up with how you're doing and what you're looking forward to.
Well, like as you said, when I first came here, I hadn't even had a pro fight, and relocated to be with Emmanuel in the Kronk gym, and it's been 6 years, and it's been a great journey. I've fought all over in Ireland, in Germany, and all over America, and right now I'm ranked #1 by the WBA, and you know I'm ready to fight for the title this year. So, but me and Emmanuel said it was important to have a fight here in Detroit, and you know, looking forward to putting on a good show on the 10th next week.
What has been the most eye-opening facet of working with Emmanuel? You obviously knew about him when you got here, but you must have learned a lot about him in the 6 years you've worked together.
Yeah, well, there's no end to the knowledge. You know, when you're with Emmanuel, every day you're learning something. Even just being around the house and being in the gym and outside the gym, we're always talking boxing, and Emmanuel's been there through history and been involved in some of the greatest fights of all time. So you get to know what it was like, the inside story in those fights, and what was going on behind the scenes, and you learn, you know, from other people's experiences. You can pick up from those experiences. So it's always, being with Emmanuel is like it's an education.
All right, Tony, so you're a weight class down from Andy. You're going to fight right before him on Saturday night. Emmanuel was saying that what he likes about you is that you take some chances and you really provide some excitement. 5 fights, 5 knockouts.
Yeah, that's I like to bring the excitement back to Detroit. You know, all the safe fighting that's going on. It's taking the fun out of boxing, you know, and I like to bring it back, and we like to bring it back to Detroit. So I like to take chances and try to take people out. That's what I'm here for.
Let me get your thoughts on last night. Wasn't a great fight, but your relationship with Vladimir is well documented. And what should we take away from the experience and what we saw last night?
Well, it was very difficult for Vladimir to knock out Mormec early in the fight because his style of fighting, he's not willing to throw uppercuts. He's much like Muhammad Ali was. And Muhammad Ali had lots of problems when he fought Joe Frazier. In fact, they had to fight 3 fights and 44 rounds before he finally figured out how to beat him convincingly, because Joe Frazier would bob and weave and come up, and Ali just couldn't throw the uppercuts that would have been effective. So in a way, Vladimir had the same problem, but he was able to knock the guy out, but in the 4th round. But up until then, it was a kind of ugly fight, you know, because Vladimir is so big and so tall. But I understand we got a challenge for him, which we was looking for, to try to find an American to fight Vladimir. I understand that we may have one, but he may be a hockey player, what I was told.
Oh, you want to take a look? Yeah, let's take a look. Today, down at Joe Louis, Brendan Smith going at it. What do you think of Brendan's first pro fight here?
Oh, my God.
A lot of clutching and grabbing.
Yeah, but that happens a lot. There's no clutching and grabbing right there now. They're punching now. And it's funny, nobody's interfering with them at all. In fact,
there it is. That's the move. And you told me a story. You worked with some Red Wings back in the day?
I think it was about 1988. Mike Ilitch called me up and said he wanted me to work with 2 of his fighters. I was in a boxing training camp. And he sent Kosher and Probert, Bob Probert, and Kosher out, and I worked with them. Those guys, if they had decided to be boxers instead of hockey players, they would have been heavyweight champions of the world. They're some of the roughest guys I've ever worked with.
Next Saturday night at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi, you can see these 2 guys headline the action. Andy Lee, Tony Harrison, and of course Emmanuel Steward will be there as well. Always good to support the Kronk boxing guys, so please try to show up and show your support next Saturday.